story is Rodgers. He was fantastic.
I thought it was the best game he's played since he was a Green Bay Packer. I thought he was the best quarterback playing football yesterday in the NFL.
You're getting this from Aaron Rodgers week 1. Like, imagine where they're going to be, a month from now, 2 months from now.
There's significance in beating him for you?
I was happy to beat everybody associated with the Jets. There were probably people in the organization didn't think I could play anymore, so it was nice to remind those people that I still can.
For years, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been stuck in limbo, good enough to compete, but never good enough to scare anyone. But now this season, that might have just changed. One of the NFL's most historic franchises now has a quarterback who can still carve defenses apart, a play caller who knows how to maximize talent, and a roster built to win right now. And because of all those reasons and everything we're going to go over in today's video, this is exactly why the Pittsburgh Steelers are a real threat. All right, KRICH crew, we are suited up wearing our Steelers headgear, whatever you want to call it. We got Steelers hat in the nation. If you are a Steelers fan, let me know in the comments. Also, if you are brand new here, make sure you comment your favorite team. Let me know, and I will make sure to recognize you in the comment section by either commenting back or leaving it a heart. Also, one thing that I did want to ask you guys is, do you prefer the mic stand in front of me like this, or do you prefer the handheld mic? Either one, just let me know. Comment below which one you prefer, and whichever one gets more comments, I will continue using forward. Just wanted to make it so that way it looks a little bit better, but either one, just let me know in the comments below. One other thing I had to mention is it's Thursday Night Football, so make sure that you comment who you're taking tonight. I believe it's Commanders +3, Packers -3, so let me know. For me, of course, I'm using MyBookie, and if you haven't, go to MyBookie, use code KRICH. You're going to get some bonus bets and everything there as well. And on top of that, I'm going to give you my pick. I'm taking the Commanders +3, so if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I just think that Jaden Daniels, that back door is left open a little too open for me. So I think Jaden Daniels and the boys are going to be able to cover. The Packers win outright. And as we all know, good teams win, great teams cover. But now with all of that out of the way, let's jump in today's video talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And well, admittedly, when I first saw Aaron Rodgers getting sacked on the very first play of him being in a Steelers uniform for a game that actually meant something, I gotta admit that I was a little worried. Hell, I kind of even assumed the worst, that it might just be a bad season for Aaron Rodgers. But was I completely wrong? For all the talk of Aaron Rodgers no longer being a quarterback who was happy to take contact, he repeatedly stood strong in the pocket in his Steelers debut, delivering the ball with his trademark accuracy and efficiency. But I think really the biggest thing, or at least the most exciting thing for Steelers fans watching this game, and anybody really watching this game too, was that they didn't need a perfect game from Aaron Rodgers to go out and win. He was gifted wide open receivers all game long by Arthur Smith, who deserves a hell of a lot of credit for opening up the season on form. The game's first touchdown came on a well-designed play-action pass to Ben Skronowski, and the dude had no one in the same postcode as him when he was receiving the ball before essentially going into the end zone untouched. Then Jaylen Warren on Rodgers' third touchdown and Calvin Austin on his fourth also had acres of space around them when receiving the ball from their quarterback. And who does know, maybe as the season does progress, we will go on to discover that this is more of a New York Jets defensive problem than it is a sign of offensive dominance. But for now, we'll give credit to Arthur Smith in his first game with Aaron Rodgers. It was a masterclass on offensive play calling that made life as easy as possible for the veteran quarterback. This relationship between quarterback and offensive coordinator was much of the focus and discussion throughout this offseason, with Smith typically wanting to employ a run-first play-action offense and Rodgers preferring to play from the gun where he can survey the field, outthink the opposition, and find his ideal target. And because of that too, I think it's notable that 3 of Aaron Rodgers' 4 touchdowns on the day came on play-action passes. In fact, even in this stat found out by Sharp Football Analysis, Rodgers used play action on no more than 20% of his dropbacks in any other game over the last 4 seasons. But in week 1 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rodgers used play action on 33% of his dropbacks, equating to 101 yards and 3 touchdowns. And now obviously a big part of having play action inside of an offensive scheme is having a mobile enough quarterback. But when you think of Aaron Rodgers and his age being 41, it's not something that we really associate with him. Like, as we all remember, this mobility is a part of what made Rodgers such a special quarterback when he was in his prime, and while he still clearly has lost a step, Pittsburgh fans have got to be encouraged by how spry he did look on Sunday. He made plenty of plays out of the pocket, and when you factor in his football IQ and still well above average arm talent, we may just have the perfect quarterback for the Arthur Smith offensive system. In total, Rodgers completed 73.3% of his passes for 244 yards and 4 touchdowns, earning a passer rating of 136.7. And I mean, look, I gotta admit it, and I think you need to admit it too. Nobody really saw that coming when we were headed into this game, right? Rodgers' leading receiver on the day was DK Metcalf, who collected 4 catches for 83 yards on 7 targets. It really is good to see these two building a strong connection early, but again, there's still so much more for fans to look forward to. All 4 of those catches came on short passes, with DK Metcalf using his freakish acceleration to pick up a total of 67 yards after the catch. That was the second most amongst all receivers in week 1. And that's the thing, we all know they really don't make many people like DK Metcalf. Standing at 6'4", 229 pounds, the dude is built like a linebacker, but watching him completely wrong foot these Jets defenders and then tear up the sideline on multiple plays is incredible to watch. The guy is capable of turning any play into an explosive one, which is a fantastic asset for Aaron Rodgers, who certainly does like to get the ball out quickly whenever possible. We've seen the upside of Rodgers working downfield in Arthur Smith's play-action scheme, but the knowledge that he can also generate big plays on short passes to DK Metcalf makes this offense that much harder to stop. And yes, of course, DK Metcalf isn't the only catch and run after specialist on this offense either. Jonnu Smith was yet another solid addition in this offseason, coming over to Pittsburgh after a breakout season in Miami in 2024, in which he collected 886 yards, and he did this with an average depth of target of just 5, leading to a total of 521 yards after the catch, which ranked 3rd in the NFL amongst tight ends. His arrival in Pittsburgh gave Aaron Rodgers a fantastic tight end duo to work with Pat Freiermuth also posing as a threat to defenses. Considering there were significant question marks surrounding who would be the wide receiver 2 behind DK Metcalf, bulking out the tight end room certainly seemed like a sensible option, and we saw the benefits of it play in week 1. Of the 5 targets that Jonnu Smith received against the Jets, 4 of them were on 3rd down situations, 2 of them were on 3rd and short, and both of which were successful plays, with Jonnu earning a new set of downs on one and scoring a touchdown on the other. Like, having both Metcalf and Smith as big, physical, and speedy run after the catch options is fantastic for Rodgers and this offense, giving them completely different outlets for potentially explosive plays from short, easy completions. And yes, of course, it would not be fair if we didn't mention the other wide receivers that are behind DK Metcalf as well. And don't get me wrong too, because I'm sure it's nice having both Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth as just that 1-2 punch in the tight end room, but Arthur Smith is also looking for that wide receiver 2 to pair alongside DK Metcalf. It's almost like they had one before they did something in the offseason. Against New York though, Calvin Austin made a strong case for being that guy though, bringing in 4 catches of his 6 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown. At 5'9" and having run a 4.32 40-yard dash, Austin certainly fits into the speedy receiver category, and he showed off that speed plenty in week 1. However, he also made a superb contested catch in the red zone, going up to high point the ball and bring it down at the 2-yard line to give his team a superb opportunity to score. Guys like Austin are very rarely turned into number 1 receivers, but he could absolutely thrive and make a big difference in this offense. He can burn defenders with his speed, can clearly get open, and has already given Rodgers plenty of reason to trust him. And really, for this offense, that's just great news in general. Okay, now I know we all have this one friend that, remember last year, the one friend that hit a 5-leg parlay in week 1 and basically wouldn't shut up about it all season long last year? Well, yeah, this year it's going to be you. We're going to make sure that happens. And the way we're going to do that is with MyBookie. MyBookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action. College football, NFL, super contest, and even survivor pools. They have all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines you could want all under one roof. And the best part is, if you're new to MyBookie, use our code and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Like, truthfully, make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There truly is no better time to jump in and no better place to play at. Football's back, so let's make some money with MyBookie. And again, thank you to MyBookie for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back into it. And really, I think if we want to talk what the main concern is for this offense, it's gotta be in the running back room, who combined for just 2.7 yards on average this Sunday. Jaylen Warren led the way with 11 totes for 37 yards, while Kenneth Gainwell picked up 19 yards on his 7 carries. Obviously, this is something that the team will need to improve going forward, and one way they're going to be able to do that is to get their 3rd round pick in Caleb Johnson going. And I think especially after Sunday, we can see that the coaching staff doesn't fully trust him yet, but if Caleb Williams does find a way to turn things around, then he's definitely going to be a difference maker in this offense once he does figure it out. At 6'1", 224 pounds, Johnson offers a very different profile to the other Steelers running backs, and he was drafted with a very clear vision in mind.
You know, just like I was talking about a physicality and big man agenda, this is a high volume, capable runner who was the center of his offense. A lot of NFL or Sunday-like runs, if you will, meaning he did it from the home position or the pistol position.
And look, when you hear Mike Tomlin talking about Caleb Johnson like that, you know the dude is going to make a difference in this offense sooner rather than later. Like, I think that's the thing, is that neither of the running backs that they have right now in Warren or in, Kenneth Gainwell, those aren't guys you want to be giving 20 plus carries to, whereas on the opposite side, when you have Caleb Johnson, he's somebody that could handle that workload easily. Especially based on his college tape, he is a great fit for Arthur Smith's zone blocking scheme, and he's the kind of running back that defenses won't be able to tackle deep in the 4th quarter. It is certainly a slight concern that he is being completely forgotten about in the rotation at the moment, but at the very least, the idea of him working his way into a bigger role does give fans an even more optimistic offensive outlook to get excited about. Like, if Johnson can get up to speed and force defenses to put more men in the box, then Aaron Rodgers' life is going to be even easier, and there will be great opportunities for 30-plus point outings. Truly, though, I do think that this was a great Week 1 offensive performance for the Steelers, and something that Steelers fans should be excited for. Like, Aaron Rodgers looked very spry and was on top of his game, and his receivers, they were making those big plays that they needed to make. Like, really, it felt like it was just physical, it was clinical, and it was an effective game plan that the Steelers had, and they went out and they executed it against the Jets. But now, as we have covered a lot of the offense in this video right now, I think we need to flip to the other side of the ball, because defensively, there is a little bit more, I think, as a Steelers fan, and just watching that game that you were expecting from the Steelers, as they're kind of known for that defense. And while in fairness, though, to that defense, I will have to say that really we didn't know how explosive or how good this Jets offense was going to be, but they really did have their way with that Steelers defense all throughout the game. In total, the Jets racked up 394 yards, and it was an even split coming from 212 passing yards and 182 rushing yards. And look, stopping an elite rushing quarterback like Justin Fields is never easy, especially when he has a running back stable as versatile as Breece Hall, Raylan Allen, and Isaiah Davis helping him out, but Pittsburgh clearly lacked solutions. They were repeatedly gashed on the ground, with Breece Hall averaging 5.6 yards per carry, Justin Fields averaging 4 yards per carry, and Isaiah Davis averaging 9 yards on his 2 carries. And as I said before, this is going to be a very unique offense to go up against, but Pittsburgh was surely hoping for a better showing against a quarterback who has generally been written off by many in Justin Fields. The team managed just 1 sack on the day, as Fields had one of the best games of his career, particularly as a passer too. Like, really, I'm not sure if anyone had him completing 73% of his passes for 218 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions against what is expected to be a top 10 defense. Obviously, it's definitely not time for panic yet, but Steelers fans will be hoping for a bounce back sooner rather than later. And look, it wasn't all negative on the defensive side of the ball either, though. The star offseason signing on the defensive side of the ball was Jalen Ramsey, and he had quite a Steelers debut. He played in 100% of the snaps, covering every single position in the secondary in 1 game for the first time in his career. Of course, his standout moment, though, came late when blowing up Garrett Wilson for the game-sealing pass breakup to secure the win for his new team. Like, despite being 30 years old, Ramsey is still one of the best defenders in the NFL, and he was a fantastic get for this front office over the offseason. In fact, really, if we want to talk about who deserves the most credit right now, I think it has to be the Steelers front office, because all of their offseason moves they made this past offseason, I've said offseason like 5 times now, is Really, they've all been good and have all panned out at least after 1 week in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers was superb with his 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. DK Metcalf looked incredibly dangerous for his team-leading 83 yards, and Jonnu Smith powered his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Meanwhile, Jalen Ramsey made his impact felt on defense with a quarterback hit and 2 pass breakups, with one of them being the game winner. This wasn't a fluke. Rodgers looked sharp, the offense looked explosive, and even with some defensive hiccups, the Steelers showed that they can win shootout games against playoff caliber teams. Add in Smith's scheme, Metcalf's dominance, and Ramsey's swagger, and you've got a recipe for chaos in the AFC. The bottom line though, Pittsburgh is back and the Steelers are a major threat in the NFL.